Hi, I'm Lissa Weinstein. I'm a real estate broker in Chicago's luxury market, and today on Private Tour I'm talking about why I love Lakeview. Lakeview is the neighborhood just north of Lincoln Park, and it runs right along the lake. Lakeview actually encompasses several smaller neighborhoods, so it's really big. It includes Boys Town, Southport Corridor, Graceland West, and Wrigleyville. And each one of these small neighborhoods really has its own character. What I really love about Lakeview is that it's very diverse. This part of Lakeview right near the lake is often called East Lakeview by local residents. There are all these narrow streets like Broadway and Clark Street. They have tons of restaurants and stores. Over here you can catch a movie at the Century Theater. It's very artsy. And then go to a late night place like Wiener Circle for a hot dog. And then end up at Club Berlin for dancing. And then there's also this old, elegant vintage lifestyle, especially when you see the beautiful co-op apartments on North Lakeshore Drive, and then also these big historic mansions right at the lakefront on streets like Wellington and Berry. I love these short blocks, especially the 300 block, which is just east of Sheridan Road, because you're right across from the park and the lakefront, the bike and jogging paths, and also the Diversity driving range and the clay tennis courts. It's really kind of an amazing lifestyle, and it's all right at your fingertips. So these are actually two of my favorites right here. I'm at 333 Berry, and this home is a vintage home that they've come in and they've done a lot of restoration work. They've added these big limestone windows in the front, and they've actually added an addition on the back, but you can see it's really still all the old vintage brick, and it's gorgeous, very elegant. This is another favorite. I'm at 3030 Lakeshore Drive here. This is actually an old mansion that they converted into condos, and they did a really beautiful job inside. They kept all the elegant vintage detail, and yet they made them really modern. Some of them are just unusual in the layout and design. It's very thoughtful, and they have really great views of the lake. There are lots of streets in East Lakeview with old vintage greystone mansions. Some have been redone as single-family homes, and some converted to apartments and condos. So what's really interesting about it is that these old vintage properties actually sit next door to these buildings. These are called 4+1s. There's 4 levels of living and the garage underneath. And these were built sometime between the 1950s through 1970s. People are always really surprised when they learn that you can live in a big greystone mansion in Lakeview and only have about a 10 or 15 minute commute downtown for work. This area also has a top-rated Nettlehurst School, Chicago City Day School, and Anshamet Day School. Wrigleyville is the area around Wrigley Field, and so that's about 3600 North, which is Addison Street. And this area is always hopping with bars, burger bars, sports memorabilia places, and it's always amped up with Cubs fans. The Southport Corridor area is about 1400 West, and it really grew up around Southport Avenue with its cafes, restaurants, and bars, and of course there's the Dairy Queen. Also the famous old Music Box Theater, which is one of the few art houses in Chicago. Southport Corridor also has the well-regarded Blaine School. The area around Graceland West is at the northern tip of Southport Corridor, and it almost has a suburban feel. There are very few bars and cafes or stores, but a lot of great old vintage homes on very big lots with very wide streets. When I bring clients here for the first time, they are always surprised at how suburban it feels. Boys Town is this area around Halsted and Roscoe, and it's where Chicago holds its annual Pride Parade. It's a really big event in Chicago and a lot of fun to attend. It's the first officially recognized gay neighborhood in the United States, so that's pretty cool that this is actually in Chicago. Like many other neighborhoods, this area has become built up, it's become gentrified, housing prices have gone up, and now it's really becoming more homogenous, so very similar to other nearby upscale neighborhoods, except the area around Halsted Street really has a nightlife all its own. So great places in Lakeview include the Melrose Diner. I'm actually at the corner of Melrose and Broadway here, and Melrose is right behind me. They have a great outdoor dining area in the summertime. They make good omelets. You can hang out and just read the New York Times, and also the waitresses are pretty cool there. And the Chicago Diner on Halsted is one of Chicago's first vegetarian and now vegan restaurants. They opened back in '83. And then there's Wood. This is a new restaurant that's opening up soon in Lakeview. I'm at the corner of Buckingham and Halsted, And I'm really excited about this restaurant. It's owned by two friends of mine, Theo and Tasso, and the chef apparently is from Millennia, so they're going to have really fresh seasonal ingredients. They have a huge bar back here, an amazing seating area, and around back late at night you can get palm frites. They have a little alley. It's sort of really New York, and I guess it's going to be open real late night. So another favorite in Lakeview is the Bridge Bookstore. I'm over here on Broadway, and I really like this bookseller. It's a small independent store, and all of the people that work here are really conversant on books, and so you can always ask for a recommendation, and they actually write a lot of their own recommendations too, so I think that's pretty cool. Then right next door, if you want to buy a naughty card or just hang out and have a laugh, is He Who Eats Mud. And a lot of times, honestly, I just come in here and just spend 5 or 10 minutes reading this stuff and just laughing. I'm at 2959 North Lincoln here. It's Heritage General Store, and this is a coffee shop that I just discovered in Lakeview. What I really love about it is that it's also a bike shop. The owners are a really creative couple. They're Mike and Lissa Salvatore. She's a professional photographer, and he's a trader that retired to pursue his dream of building custom bikes. You can hang out here. It's really cool inside. Just read the newspaper, maybe write your first novel. The other thing is they have some of the best coffee I've ever had in Chicago. So this is actually the parking lot at the general store, and they are super smart. They made this into a big picnic area. They actually have Wi-Fi out here, so you can come and hang out. You can work all day. So the owner told me that on Saturdays, usually they bring in a food truck. So definitely check this place out on the weekends.